Well, I don't know. Okay, I mean, for me, I didn't really feel like this was a bad chapter. But also, time. Uda, you have done a lot of things, but time, and it's because of a devil fruit? Oh, you could have done better. But then again, devil fruits are meant to be weird. So I guess that's the excuse. Sorry. Sorry, that was not intentional. But yes, this is me, the Angry Anime Fan, and this is the One Piece chapter 920. First of all, a pretty funny cover. As you know, the cover stories are over, so now we're getting requests. And what's this request? Well, basically, as Sanji and Zoro are dreaming after having fighting each other, and each one dreams that they have managed to beat each other. That is so funny. It seems to imply that Zoro really wants to defeat Sanji, but he's always considered Sanji, himself above him. It's worth noting that Chopper is congratulating him in his dream, while of course Nami is hugging Sanji in Sanji's dream. I find that cover request to be pretty funny. I guess in the end that means they both consider each other to be very difficult opponents that they cannot beat. So why are you giving Sanji the bad treatment, Oda? If Sanji is meant to be that strong, then let him be that strong! Okay, onward to the chapter. Kinemon and the rest begins to explain a little history about Lord Oden, who seems to have that weird haircut. Turns out that, yes, Lord Oden was the son of the last shogun, Lord Kosuke Sukiyaki. Wait, isn't Sukiyaki a food? Well, Oden is a food as well, so maybe it was a family theme. Well, it doesn't matter, you can correct me on that. Either way, it's the fact that he seemed to be a guy who loved to fight, so he was eventually exiled from the Flower Capital, which has always been the Shogun place. And he ended up in Kuri, or at least he went to Kuri, who turned out to actually not have been a wasteland place. Well, it was a wasteland place all those years ago as well. But it turns out to have been a lawless area, where people fought every day. But then suddenly Oden came, challenged the guy who may have been on top of this place, called Ashura Doji. Ashura, that sounds so familiar. And Oden of course won, but instead of conquering this place and ruled it with fear, he actually managed to change their ways and turned Kuri from a lawless, bloodthirsty carnage place to a legitimate business place where people laughed and smiled every day, a paradise farm. He basically helped the people that all of the Wano Kuri had given up on, because even the previous shogun Sukiyaki had no faith in Kuri. But there was one man who had. And after defeating the guy who probably was on top, that Ashura guy, Lord Oden managed to change into the entire Kuri. Which shows that he was a man who saw potential in what other people did not. Kind of an all-loving hero. Yeah, sort of. But so he became, and after that, when the shogun heard of the deeds, it was then that Kosuke was named why can I not say that name? Daimyo of Kuri. I cannot say that word for some strange reason. Daimyo. At a young age of 20. However, he always said that it's too cramped here. Meaning that he has always had a desire to, well, go everywhere. And then we, for some strange reason, switches to Zoro, who of course wonders where the others have gone, because they got lost on a dog. Oh, Zoro. Your loss in direction is actually pretty funny, but your ignorance to it all is sometimes annoying. And when I mean annoying of it all, it's the fact that he sometimes needs a serious slap in the face of it all. However, I think the only reason why we see him in this chapter is not for comedy. It's because he sees a worth, whatever that is. And I have a feeling that worth is gonna be story related. And then we switches to Inuarashi, who unfortunately still doesn't have his second leg. Well, it was cut off, but I was kind of hoping there was some way the king of the day could actually get his legs back, but I guess not. A lot of people was actually screaming, where is Inuarashi, if he was watching Momonosuke. Well, here's your answer. They are in Wanokuri, yes, not where Kinemon are. They're probably all around the place, so not to raise suspicion. And it turns out that 20 years ago, Inuarashi and Nekomamushi drifted into this place. This seems pretty strange. I mean, they have said that they have been friends with the Kosuke family for a very long time. They have also had the road poneglyph there. So, but this seems to imply that they became friends with the Kosuke family only 20 years ago. Or maybe I'm misunderstanding. I mean, because I thought it was something like the Kosuke and the Ming tribe have gone back all this time, and then suddenly they are sending sends some promising rookies to Wano, and then they become retainers. I thought that was the situation, but from this explanation, it seems it's not that way. No, Nekomamushi and Inuarashi just drifted to this place, where they of course met discrimination. They were a talking dog and a talking cat. And by the way, how they look in kids, that is kind of ugly. So of course they will face discrimination. However, there was one guy who of course did not show them discrimination, in fact only welcomed them. And that was indeed Lord Oden, showing that he was a guy with a heart. But then we comes to the real strange part of it all, is the fact that Kinemon explains the entire story, including on how Lord Oden died, and we don't hear it. All we hear is some pieces of that and that and that, and if you ask me, I mean, I know that people complain about flashbacks, I do that too, but you can't just leave us with these minor clues. Explain everything. Because here it seems to imply that Whitebeard and Roger was captivated by that samurai of Wanokuri, which seems to imply have been Lord Oden. And then they cut to when he died, which everyone gets tears in their eyes. Sanji gets angry eyes, and of course Luffy says Orochi is unforgivable. Well, that is actually kind of good, because that means now Luffy is really in the game. He was already in the game to kick Kaido's ass, but now he is really in the game. So whatever happened, we do not hear it. All we hear is the fact that he was taken to Flower Capital and executed as a criminal. So whatever Orochi did, he did something heinous. There seemed to have been some implication that Lord Oden was boiled alive just to mock his name. But we'll don't see. So I mean, losing pages here. You can't just leave us like that, Oda. Explain all in detail, or are you gonna do that in a flashback? So they begin to explain that they tried to escape after that situation, because there was some and no one was on their side anymore, which seems to imply that Orochi framed the Kosuke family, especially Lord Oden. Given the fact that propaganda paints Orochi as a hero while Oden is a villain, it's very likely that he was framed for something. So it also was revealed that the start of the feud between Nekomamushi and Inuarashi was indeed Lord Oden. I thought it was during their pirate days, where, you know, Lord Oden will have gotten a dangerous wound, and then they argued against each other because they were too cowardly to protect their lords. And this is sort of similar. It seems that they blamed each other for Lord Oden's death, that they were too powerless to stop them. So they headed towards the castle, I mean Kinemon and the rest, because Inuarashi and Nekomamushi was captured, but they somehow escaped. But the castle of Oden was already in flames. And this thus revealed that, yes, Kaido and the Calamities were there 20 years ago. Kaido have controlled Wano for over 20 years. And because Wano Kuri is an isolism country, it's no wonder the world government doesn't know this. It's an isolist country. They will never hear what Kaido have done. Well, granted, they would have done nothing to stop him anyway, but it's no wonder that anyone is so surprised that Kaido has such control, because he has control over a country that will never tell its secrets. We also see a silhouette of what we can presume is the Calamities. One is clearly Jack. The other two, well, we'll see what their names are. It's worth noting that one actually looks a lot like Pika and has horns on his shoulders. The other one, well, has a pig face. It's during this time the samurais found Lady Toki, which was Oden's wife. It is also revealed that Momonosuke, for some strange reason, had a sister, Hiyori. And this is how it's revealed on how the samurais managed to travel to the future. Because it turns out that Lady Toki, appropriately enough, had eaten a devil fruit called the Toki Toki no Mi, and Toki means time. So she sent them into the future. She could never have sent them to the past, because that's not how the future worked, the devil fruit worked. But for some strange reason, she has used this power to flee to different places in time. And she ended up in this era, where she considered that this is where she will die. So take Momonosuke and stop this, which Kinemon with tears in his eyes promised that they would. It's also worth noting that when we see Raizo, Kinemon and Kanjaro, we see a fourth samurai. A samurai with a hat, whose face we do not see. However, when we end up in, 20 years later, I cannot see that guy. So there have already been a lot of theories on who that guy is. The most popular theory being, I don't know which chapter that was, but it was in Where Are They Now chapter when we saw Laboon and Crocus. Crocus was somehow sharing a drink with a man who, appropriately enough, have a hat that is very similar to the Wano Kuri people. Is it possible that that's him? Well, I want to say no, because the only retainers that followed Oden on Roger's pirate crew were Inuarashi and Nekomamushi. Granted, however, Kinemon hasn't talked about that fourth guy yet. However, there's also someone saying that, is Hiyori, the sister of Momonosuke, really dead? Is it possible that she also traveled to the future, just not 20 years? I mean, I kinda hope that. There's some theories who are saying that maybe it's Tama, given to the fact that she has ability of Dango and have many similarities to, the Momotaro legend, and Momonosuke is kind of named after the Momotaro legend. So is it possible that it's that Tengu guy? Who is that? Well, either way, they ended up in 20 years in the future, and Wano Kuri was now a place of wasteland. They thought they had no allies, and there was a discriminational place. But then they actually did find allies who heard from Lady Toki that 20 years later there will be some samurais that will rise up again and stop this madness. And so they have patiently waited 20 years, even though they didn't know if it really would happen. Now they have seen them, and with a mark of the moon, the Kosuke family are not alone anymore, but they needed more allies. So Cookie stayed behind to gather intelligence, while the rest of them left. But of course, since leaving Wano Kuri is a crime, they were spotted by the Beast Pirates. They were separated, as we all know, and until they finally ran into the Straw Hats, who have become their most trusted allies yet. And with this, they are gonna start their planning. And their part is not to have their plan exposed. Well, Luffy kinda blew the fuse, and Jack will get news of this, so not have your plan exposed? It's Luffy you're talking to. He's saying, okay, got it. No, Luffy, you don't got it. You definitely, completely don't got it. And now they have a force. The Straw Hat Crew, the Heart Pirates, the Musketeers of Inuarashi, the Guardians of Nekomamushi, as well as the Kozuki rebels. With this, they have a strong army, although not strong enough, perhaps, but they're not gonna start a war. No, they're gonna take the commanders' heads. Because it turns out that Kaido is not in Wano. Every time we have seen Kaido, it seems that he's on a winter island, and I always thought that was Wano Kuri, but no. It's apparently an island called the Unigashima. So the thing is, and it's pretty appropriately shaped like a skull. I guess it's meant to have a notice of the fact that Kaido looks a lot like an uni. So I mean, what I'm trying to say is Unigashima near Wano? So either way, that's where they're gonna head off in 2 weeks' time, where they're gonna fight Kaido and do it. In fact, this seems to be a reference to the assassination incident of the Ronin 47. So in 2 weeks' time, or very likely earlier, given to the fact that we're Luffy we're talking to here, the battle will happen. The battle of Kaido and Orochi. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, sorry, this review is extremely long. It was not meant to be this long, but there's so many things to talk about, and now I've already forgotten the many things I was gonna talk about. Most of the part is Lord Oden and Whitebeard and Roger were charmed. I mean, they liked him. So what I meant to say is, there's a plot hole here. When did Oden go out with Roger and Whitebeard? It's very likely that happened before he was named Shogun, because he was at first Daimyo of Kuri, and they did not say that he was Shogun back then. So it's very likely he went to Outsea when he was still Daimyo of the Kuri. Then how did his father allow him to become Shogun? Leaving the border was a crime, but it's clear that Oden was not someone for rules. So there is just something here that is not making sense. And again, if the friendship between the Mink tribe and the Kozuki is just from 20 years ago, then why do they have a red poneglyph? I mean, they have always talked about the Day of the Dawn, but now it seems to imply that Dawn is actually the one that Lady Toki talked about before she died. And also a time fruit? Devil fruits are weird, but an ability that allows you to travel forward in future? That is something anyone would want. So yeah, I wonder what will happen now. But yeah, this was basically it. And also, how did Inuarashi and Nekomamushi manage to flee their captives? And what happened to Lady Hiyori and Lady Toki? You know, it's worth noting that we do not see them, we only see their silhouettes. We will likely get, a flashback where everything will be explained. We still haven't seen Orochi, but whatever he did something extremely unforgivable. It's basically this chapter. This review was too long, sorry about that. But still, if you have listened, give me your thoughts if you have any.